You may have seen some recent videos where my son and I, Trent, are debating whether the market is going to rally or crash in 2023. What he doesn't know is that I have data on my side. What do I mean by that? I have collected the data, 720 data points that gives me a direction of the market. Here it is. I'll give you a brief look at it, and then later I'll explain it to you. Yeah, data. This is then when you apply artificial intelligence against this data, you can predict anything. And with this 720 points, I'm predicting this market is going to rally this year. When you add to that the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, the genome sequencing, the advances that technology are putting into our economy, this market only has one way to go, and nothing can stop it. So let me get into this deeper.
Best of Us Investors presents Carrie Griegmeyer.
Yeah, I watch, listen, read the pundits, the gurus, the soothsayers, those who recognize or know how the stock market works. And they always tell me that it has things to do with past performance. And they talk about national debt, and they talk about GDP, and the interest rates, and inflation, and the value of the dollar, and the CPI. And then they talk about it depends on who's in office in the Senate and the House and the presidency, and that's what controls what happens to the stock market. Well, what I know is there is a massive history of this. We have all that data going back to the turn of the century, the 1800s, and so what I've done is gathered that data for the last 40 years, and I've said, okay, let me look at it and let me see if there's a relationship between 720 data points that can tell me what's going to happen in the stock market in the future, and I believe it can. The problem I have is I've only got one brain, and I don't have the ability to look at the interest rates in 1952 and relate them to the national debt of 1978 and how that relates to the dollar value in 2022 and what that means relative to who's president of the United States. I can't take those 720 data points and make sense out of them, but I know who can. Yeah, I do. It's called an algorithm. It's called artificial intelligence. It's feeding this data into a computer base that has the ability to compare every one of those 720 data points to the other 719. Okay? Then what I know is then I can expand my database from 720 to 15,000, okay, by adding other data points, and that is going to tell me what the stock market is going to do. Now I want to show you my 720 data points, and you see how they relate to each other. Let's start with what I've done is give you the return on the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ from 1982 down to 2022. Then what I've said is what is the national debt relative to each of those, and what is the percentage change year to year. I want you to recognize we have a lot of people who are telling us the national debt is getting out of hand and the market can't go up at it. Please focus on 1988 through 1993. The national debt increased from a low of 10 to a high of 17% each year. Look where it's at now. Yeah, we had the relief package that blew it up by 22%, but going back all the way to 2023, it hadn't increased between 4% and 8%. Actually, Yeah, so it has actually slowed down on its relative increase. So when you tell me the national debt is why the economy can't improve and the stock market can't improve, I say you don't know past history. It has, even from '08 to 14, it increased from 11, 19, 14%, and then the stock market took off. So I say to you, that isn't good enough. I won't buy it. Then let's look at GDP. GDP increased by 11% in '84, hasn't hit that number again until 2020, 2021, and now we move into 2023. So the national debt, or excuse me, the GDP growth would indicate that we have blue skies in front of us. Then let's go look at interest rate changes. Do you believe that we had an interest rate change this past year of 6,085%? Has that ever been achieved before? No. If I go back to data, it tells me the highest and closest it's ever got was 223 back in 2015. And let's look and see what the market did relative to that. So what I'm saying is you have to have these data points. Let's look at inflation. Inflation went up in 2021 by 417%. Has it ever gone up by more than that? Yeah. It went up in 2008 by 2,922%, 302% in '87. How do these numbers then relate to the performance of the market? I'm sorry, my mind is not big enough. Then let's look at the value of the dollar relative to other currencies and its movement. Right now, it's about $1.04. The preceding years, it was around 94 to $1. But we can go up here and we can see that that's pretty constant throughout. So that isn't, to me, giving me any representation other than we saw the dollar drop in value from, it looks like 86 to 88. And we saw it gain in value by 10%, well, by 13% back in 98, and then 10% here in '06. Then we look at the CPI, the value of our currency, and we can see again fluctuations. Nothing that stands out. And then we look at who was president at the different times. What I'm telling you is, if my mind was big enough, if I had a computer that could look at these numbers and analyze them, I honestly believe they could tell me exactly what the stock market is going to do in 2023. And let's look down here. Where is it thus far? We're 1 month into the year. The Dow is up 2.8%, the S&P is up 6.2%, and the NASDAQ is up 10.6%. If I could gather the data for the first month of every one of these years, that would give me even more information. Now, do I think I'm a genius and I'm the first guy who ever thought of this? No, I do not. I believe there's someone somewhere who has even more, who thought of this before I did, who has accumulated even more data, has created an algorithm, has the knowledge of how to do that, and they know what's going to happen this year, and they know it with about a 96% certainty. And I want you to know that's who you're playing this game against. And you need to get up to speed. If you can write the algorithm, if you have a clue to this, I want you to get in touch with me. I want you to just Google my name. You'll find how to get in touch with me. And let's create this to predict the market with a 98% certainty. I know the data will give us the answer. I mean, just watch the pundits. What do? They come out and give you maybe 2 of these data points, and they make their prediction. I've got 720. I can very easily double that just by taking it back another 40 years. I can even increase it, the broad of it, by adding other data points. This is the future of the stock market. We will know on January the 1st of 2024 exactly what the stock market, the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ are going to do for 2024. I have no doubt about that. The only question is which stock is going to take it up or down relative to what we know is going to happen. The market is driven by these points of data. The only other element in there is the human body and the human mind and the human emotions, but they cannot overpower these data points. That's the future. That's where we're going. And from my scope and what I look at here, Trent, it's going up. And it's going up substantially this year. Because the other thing that is in here is change. And whenever you introduce change, I mean, just go back and say, okay, what happened to give me these fantastic numbers after 1990? It was the digital revolution. What about up in the 2010s? And it was social media. Well, what is happening now? Well, we have the digital revolution 3.0. We have artificial intelligence. We have genome sequencing. We have genome editing. We have a world that is going to change more in the next 5 years than it has in the preceding 200. So how can this market defy that and say, no, we're just going to take the prices down? Hell, we are very close to a universal wage. I told you the world is going to be, we're replacing jobs. Factories are putting in robots. Factories are putting in 3D printing. They're eliminating jobs. I have a relationship with a guy who had a factory pre-COVID that had 550 employees. He's down to 150, and he's going to bring it down to 50. And those 50 people will not be out on the floor in the warehouse or anywhere else. They'll be sitting on a desk behind a computer, probably at home. That's where we're going. You cannot stop this. So, Trent, I'm sorry, but you don't have the data on your side. I do. And I also have the most important element, and that is change. And you can't stop it. None of you can stop it. It's coming like a train, and you either get on the damn train or get out of the way. Because I'm going to make a lot of money because I know what's going to happen, and the data proves it to me. All right. I just needed to get that off my chest this Sunday. And we'll talk more about this because this is what's going to happen. And again, if you can write the algorithm, I can collect the data, and I got the knowledge of change on my side. Let's put this together. Come join my tribe. Come become a member of our tribe. We get together and we talk about things like this, and we're going to take this world into the next generation. Come to the link in the description. Find the Discord. Sign up. Drew will put you in the Discord, and we'll beat this stock market because, damn it, those pundits don't know what I know. Talk to you again tomorrow.